Hello, hello, hello. In today's episode of the podcast, I'm going to be talking to business leaders and I'm going to be telling you the questions that you need to ask before approving paid social budgets. Let's start by highlighting that there are different social media platforms that you can run paid advertising. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, which is under the umbrella of Meta. You have TikTok, you have LinkedIn, and you have Pinterest. And one thing that you need to understand as a business leader is paid social is different to Google Ads. Google Ads has high intent. So people go into Google Ads to type in something that they want to buy. They are very, very intentional. So it has high purchase intent. The mindset and the framework of customers going into your Google Ads are ready to buy. It's different when it comes to paid social. Paid social, people are on social media for entertainment, for relaxation, for community, for connection, for just switching off. They're not in a purchase mindset. So your strategy when it comes to paid social is essentially primarily brand awareness, to kind of nudge them, to create that subconscious awareness of your brand. So when they're ready to buy, then they kind of remember your brand and they use your brand to make the purchase. So the first question you need to ask as a business leader is the analytics setup for your paid social implemented correctly? If you're using the default Google GA4 analytics tracking, then you might not be getting the full picture. So as a business leader, you need to ask your analytics team if the server side tracking is implemented, conversion API, to make sure that you're getting the full picture, to know that, okay, this campaign is working, this campaign is not working. That is the first question you need to ask. Before approving any budget, ask that question. And it's important to know that the way Meta and Facebook works is you need to be feeding it new creative. So sometimes you need to ask your team, what exactly is the budget structure for this paid ads that you're approving? What this means is you need to ask them, of the budget that they're asking you to approve, what percentage of that budget is on actual spend for paid social? What this means is ask them the percentage of the budget that is going to Meta to pay for the ads, actually to pay for the clicks, the impression. By default, some people would recommend up to between 60 to 75% of that budget, but you need to clarify that they're not just assigning 100% of the budget to one thing and ignoring other important section of how the budget should be structured. Another important part that you need to find out is ask them about the creative side of your paid social. What exactly is the percentage of the budget that is set aside for creative production? What this means is like the images, the videos, all the creative assets that you need for your paid social. This is important because if your team do not have a budget set aside to refresh the creative and the assets used for paid social, those ads will become quickly fatigued and they will not be as effective as they should be. So Facebook, Meta, and all this platform, they want you to feed them diverse creative. So the assets needs to be constant and it needs to be tailored to the audience and the audience and the concept that you're trying to target. User generated content. So you need to ask that question. You need them to split out the budget and give you clarity on how much is allocated to creative production. Then another thing you need to find out is about the agency fees as well. When you want to understand that, okay, how much of the budget you approve is going to agency fees, and that kind of trigger that question, if you're paying too much for agency fees, do you need to consider bringing or hiring someone in-house to reduce that cost of agency fee and kind of have a hybrid model? If you're outsourcing everything to an agency at the moment, you need to consider having a hybrid approach where somebody in-house will be able to help. Then you need to consider what portion of the budget is allocated to tools and measurements, because sometimes you need tools to actually help you create effective reporting, real-time reporting, because the interface within Meta and some of the social media platform is not really fit for purpose when it comes to reporting. So there are external software solutions that you need to consider using. So asking the question how the paid social budget is structured is really, really important. Then you need to ask the question, why are you investing in particular paid social channel? Ask your team, of all the paid social channel, why have we chosen maybe Meta ads? Why have we chosen LinkedIn ads? I've been in situations where an organization would decide, a B2B organization will decide a B2C organization would decide to use LinkedIn. And in some instances, LinkedIn might not be the right target social media platform for you. So when you start asking the question why your team has chosen a particular social media platform, and in some instances, they would choose multiple social media platforms. And the rationale behind that is they just want to be on all social media platforms. But when you ask them, where exactly are our target audience? What social media platform does our target audience use the most? Those kind of questions will start triggering thinking and alignment to kind of understand that, okay, are we using the wrong social media platform because our audience are not really there? So as a business leader, you need to ask them this question. And then you need to also ask them, what exactly is the objective behind investing in paid social? You'll be surprised some organizations are spending heavily on paid social and they really do not need to be on paid social. But when you don't ask the question as a business leader, you can easily realize that the budget that is allocated to paid social is better utilized in another channel, in another platform, maybe Google Ads, maybe even physical events. So your business model and where your target audience reside in should determine where you allocate the budget. So the most important thing to understand is the mistakes that are made when it comes to paid social. And to avoid making that mistake, you need to start asking these questions. Then another thing that I've noticed in organization is when they underinvest in creative. You see an organization that is spending six-figure a month and they don't even have a creative team or even working with an external creative agency to create those creative diversity I mentioned, to continuously feed the social media platform and continuously refresh your ad creatives to avoid fatigue of the customer. So before you approve that, you also need to ask about the metrics that they're measuring. You need to understand, as I mentioned earlier on, that paid social is different to Google Ads. The metrics that you're measuring need to align, and it's kind of counterintuitive to use paid social as a high converting channel when primarily what you're out there to do is to create brand awareness. So these are the things you need to consider when you're approving a paid social budget. 3 important questions you need to ask. The first question is the conversion tracking, the conversion API. Is it server-side implemented? The second question you need to ask is about how the paid social budget is structured. Is it structured for creative production? How much of it is the agency fee? How much of it is the actual spend on the social media platform? And then how much of the budget is actually towards the tool that you need to effectively measure performance in real time? And also, are you investing in the right paid social channel? Once you ask all these questions, then it becomes easier to get the best commercial result from your paid social team. If you need help with your paid social budget, reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you. I offer fractional CMO services, growth marketing services. I'm able to make sure that you're getting the best results you can.